Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Talkin' Jazz. We're talking jazz out on my patio in my backyard with my good friend Mike Antonelli. What's going on, my friend?
Hey,
good to see you.
Great to see you too, my man.
Same here.
Thanks
Same
for
here.
inviting me to this wonderful place you have. It's beautiful. It's like
He's been here before.
paradise.
He's been here before.
Yeah, it was nice to come back.
Yeah,
it's always nice.
It's been a while. Exactly.
What a beautiful day to do this.
A really nice day. Yeah.
The weather just makes you feel so good.
Yeah.
Summertime here in the Northeast.
Yeah. And
Beautiful.
What better to talk about and listen to in the summertime than a little bit of jazz, right?
Perfect.
Yeah. So as we've said,
season.
Yeah, every season really, but yeah, something in the nicer weather, it's just kind of hits home. So, Blue Note Records. We told you we were going to talk about it. We're going to give you a little history here, kind of what the label's meant to us over the years while listening to this kind of music, and pick out some of our favorite albums, which, as we've just been talking about for like 10 minutes before we started recording, is not an easy task because there's so much, so many musicians who appeared and released albums on Blue Note Records, then appeared as sidemen on other people's albums, who appeared on their albums, who appeared on their albums, and it's like this big whole crazy family of amazing musicians that cross-pollinated each other's music for this, as long as the label's been around, but especially during like the mid-50s to the mid-late 60s, right? I mean, that was
the heyday where I think possibly 30 to 40 records a year were produced during the 50s and 60s.
That's a lot.
Blue Note. And that's when all the hard bop musicians were being recognized by Alfred Lyon, and then later in the 80s and so forth, it was Bruce Lunval was the president, who had another long track record. But and now I guess Don Was, since 2011, I think is the new head of Blue Note Records, and he's going in a slightly different direction. So, but that's okay.
Well, the band is now part of the big conglomerate, right? Universal Music Group bought out EMI. EMI originally purchased Blue Note. So, but yeah, we're looking at a lot. 80-something years, right? I think 1939. Yeah. The label created by two immigrants who came over to New York City from Europe, Alfred Lyon and Max Margulis. Yeah. And just decided to start up a jazz label. And here we are all these years later, 1,000 plus releases later, going through kind of the swing era, classic jazz into bebop and hard bop and avant-garde and everything in between. And we've got a whole shitload of really legendary recordings.
Yeah. I think what was unique about Alfred Lyon, from what I've read, was that he had a close relationship with his artists, and he encouraged them, aka or alike, just like Miles Davis, when he brought people into his band, encouraged them to be creative and be their own person and explore their ideas and have freedom to do that. And that's, I think, what was really special about this label, is he actually was friends with most of the people that he brought to the label.
Which helps.
It wasn't a corporate executive forcing you to play a certain style or keep it within this boundary or genre or so forth. So.
Yeah, that artist kind of label relationship much different than on a big corporate label, like you said, right? Where you don't know anybody on the label, right? You deal with your A&R person, and that's really it, right? So.
Yeah.
So, again, we've picked out some albums that are kind of our favorites here. And we do want to mention, because his name is probably going to come up, but a lot of the productions were handled by a guy named Rudy Van Gelder, who is synonymous with the Blue Note label. And he had a studio over in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, where a lot of this stuff happened. And it's just amazing how many albums you look at the credits for on this label, and Rudy was involved, recorded at his studio. And one thing we need to mention, because we will talk about this, you listen to some of these albums today that were recorded 50, 60 years ago, pristine production. Some of the best sounding productions that you'll hear anywhere.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to like when I did a show a couple months ago with Ken Golden, we were talking about the ECM label and how so many of those albums, absolutely amazing production. Blue Note, kind of along the same lines. Really, really crystal, as if you were there. You pop the album or the CD in, and you feel like you're sitting there in the room with them. Meanwhile, they recorded it 60 years ago down in that little studio in New Jersey.
And Van Gelder Studios is still operational. not Rudy Van Gelder has passed, of
Right.
course, but his heirs or his proteges are still running the studio, and the sound is still gorgeous and awesome. Bill just recorded down there his new original jazz album.
Oh, really?
Bill Ware, my
Bill Ware,
partner in Home at Last.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So look for that to come out pretty soon. I don't know what he called it, but it is in production.
Okay.
I don't know the title of the album, but
And I just reviewed Joe Levano's latest album for Blue Note. Actually, no, sorry, that was for ECM. Sorry.
ECM.
That's right.
I was
ECM.
gonna.
I'm getting confused.
I'm not gonna bring up Joe Levano until later because I have a lot to say.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
About Joe
I
Levano.
forgot. I knew it, we mentioned ECM before, and I had it on the brain. I'm like, oh yeah, Joe's new album. Yeah, that was on ECM Records. But,
28 or 29 albums Joe did for Blue Note.
yeah, a lot.
So I mean, I could have picked 10 of my favorite Joe Levano albums and stopped right there.
Right.
But I'm not going to put you or the listeners through that because that's just it's near and dear to my heart.
Of course.
Not to
We're
everyone,
close
so,
friends.
but
You
yeah.
said you're your mentor, right?
Yeah.
So, So we'll go two at a time here, right? Why don't we go
Sure.
back and forth? All right. So what's your first two selections here from Blue?
All right, so I went in chronological order, and which was the year that they were released. A lot of these songs were recorded perhaps a year earlier, but released the following spring or the following fall. So the recording date and the release dates don't always line up. But released in 1958, we're going to start out with the only album that this fantastic artist recorded for Blue Note, and this is Blue Train by John Coltrane. Lee Morgan, another fantastic Blue Note Blue Note artist.
I have others in reserve, so I'm glad we both picked it because now I can pick something else.
Produced by Alfred Lyon, recorded by Rudy Van Gelder in Hackensack. So the first studio was in Hackensack.
Right.
Later on, he moved to Englewood Cliffs, where it is now. But I mean, I don't really have to say a lot. This is a classic Coltrane album.
We talked about this in
One
depth
of
in our culture.
the best. And Curtis Fuller's on trombone. Kenny Drew, you're going to hear his name again. Paul Chambers on bass, and Philly Jones on drums. So that's one for me.
Cool.
So next I go to another fantastic artist who recorded for Blue Note Records a lot, and has got many in the catalog, and he was one of the founders of the Jazz Messengers. This album by Horace Silver, which is called Horus Scope, and it features Blue Mitchell on trumpet, Junior Cook on tenor sax, of course Horace Silver on piano, Gene Taylor on bass, Roy Brooks on drums. Two of the most popular Horace Silver songs were recorded on this album. Strollin', that's one of them, and of course Nika's Dream, which was about the Baroness, who was the jazz fan of, supported him and Thelonious Monk and many other jazz players in the 40s and 50s. So that's my number. That was recorded in 1960, released in 1960. So we got one from 58, one from 60.
That's another cool thing about a lot of these releases. They recorded them on one date, and then like the next month, they were out.
Yeah.
There was no big gap in between anything.
Yeah.
So. All right, my first selection's from 1958, and this was, I believe, the first album as a leader from this amazing player, Cannonball Adley, Something Else.
Oh, yeah.
Now, of course, a lot of you may remember he played with Miles, and then he went and did this album as a leader and included Miles in with the band on the album, along with Hank Jones on piano, Sam Jones on bass, and the great Art Blakey on drums. So this is really cool because it's my only instance of having Miles in this kind of little countdown here, because Miles did some early stuff with Blue Note, but then he was off to other various labels in Columbia and whatnot. But he did do a favor to Cannonball and appear on his album here. This is really good. Don't miss out on this one.
That is a great album.
Great album. Cannonball Adley, a terrific alto sax player. Really good. And then 1959. I could have picked any album by this guy. They're all really good. I went with The Sermon by Jimmy Smith. of course, the great Hammond organ player. And you've got the big epic 20-minute title track on here, which just goes on and on and on. But another great lineup. So we've got Lee Morgan on here, which
Again.
I'm sure we will hear from before we're done with this episode. Lou Donaldson and George Coleman on alto sax, Tina Brooks on tenor sax, the great Kenny Burrell and Eddie McFadden on guitars, Jimmy Smith on organ, and Art Blakey and Donald Bailey on drums. Just 3 tracks, 20-minute title track, JOS 12 minutes, and then Flamingo 8 minutes. So you get a lot of jamming on here. Very, very cool stuff. And don't miss out on Kenny Burrell's guitar playing on this album. It's out of control good. So those are my first 2. Back to you.
Back to me.
Back to you.
So, like you said, you're going to hear a lot of names: Horace Silver, Jimmy Smith, Lee Morgan, Wayne Shorter. All these people were multiple recordings for Blue Note as either a leader or a sideman.
Yep.
So I went for some of the perhaps lesser known titles that after the few that I just showed you. This one is this is from 1961, and this is from the great alto saxophone player Jackie McLean.
Oh, yeah.
This is called Bluesick.
Yep.
And this one has Freddie Hubbard on trumpet. We're going to be hearing his name again too.
Yeah.
Jackie McLean on alto sax, Kenny Drew, we already heard his name, on piano, Doug Watkins on bass, and Pete LaRocca on drums. This is 6 original tunes by the artists that are on the album, most of them by Jackie McLean, and they're all blues. So I don't know if this is 1961. Was he kind of going off of what Miles did in 1958 or 59? You know, with his modal blues piece, was he trying to fit into that mold? I don't know, but all these tunes are smoking. And if you don't know about Jackie McLean, he is a very powerful alto saxophonist, more in the mold of influenced by Charlie Parker, but a lot more hard type of sound. He's just raucous at points. You know, he's a lot of sound, big sound. So anyway, that's 1961.
And if you go investigate this album, don't sleep on Jackie's Bag, which is another one I pulled out. This was from 1959. Also really, really good. So.
All right, now we go
with the light. We got to keep an eye on the light here. We're recording this at night, early evening, so it's like we're trying to
it's a
work.
Perfect night.
Yeah.
Should I talk faster?
No, not at all. I'm just because we'll deal with the light. We'll
all right. So, going to 1963. Now, again, Alfred Lion had this vision of introducing new artists and putting them on the scene, people that he thought were deserving of being on the scene. This guy was already on the scene, but this is his first album as a leader. I think Bluesick was Jackie McLean's second album as a leader on Blue Note. And this is the great introducing Joe Henderson, Page 1. Tunes that you probably have heard a million times. Blue Bossa.
Oh, yeah.
Recorda Me. Jin Rishka is another one. This was recorded on June 3rd, 1963. And this time, it's Van Gelder at this point had moved to Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, and has a studio there. Kenny Dorham, trumpet. Joe Henderson, tenor sax. McCoy Tyner on piano. Butch Warren on bass. And again, Pete LaRocca on drums. Great Joe Henderson. If you've never heard Joe Henderson, please check this out. He's amazing.
Cool. Back to me.
Yep.
All right, I went a little out of order. I forgot about this one here. So this is a very early release from this amazing talent. This was released in 1957, recorded at Van Gelder Studios in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey. Nuke's Time by Sonny Rollins.
Wow.
See that? Yeah. This is a good one. So this is a 4-piece here. We got Sonny on tenor sax. We got Wynton Kelly on piano, Doug Watkins on bass, and Philly Joe Jones on drums. We talked about him quite a bit on the show in the past, right?
Yeah.
Again, 6 tracks. That's kind of like the standard, right, for a lot of these releases. 6, 7 songs, not much else. Usually you get a couple longish ones.
Yeah.
And this was September 22nd, 1957 was the studio session for this. So this is way before his some of his more famous albums. This is really early in his career, but a really, really good one. So don't sleep on this if you want to check out some really early classic Sonny Rollins. And then probably one of my favorite bands from this era, I think, and an amazing drummer, and the citronella candle was like smoking up a storm over here. This is Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, A Night in Tunisia. A lot of great choices for Art Blakey here. This was released in 1960 at Englewood Cliffs, recorded at Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey by Rudy Van Gelder, and these sessions were the 2nd of August through the 7th, also the 14th in 1960. And here we have Lee Morgan on trumpet, again, Wayne Shorter on tenor sax, Bobby Timmons on piano, Jimmy Merritt on bass, and Art Blakey on drums. It's a pretty damn great lineup. And the interesting thing about Art Blakey, kind of like with Miles, it's like you had a lot of really great players that went through the Jazz Messengers. I think the album before this or after this, Freddie Hubbard is on in place of Lee Morgan. So you had Freddie and Wayne, who had played together on other albums afterwards. So you get this, like we mentioned, this cross-pollination before. You see it all the time. This is a terrific, terrific album, but you really can't go wrong with any of the early Art Blakey and the Jazz Messenger albums. So good. So, all right. Next, back to you.
So we mentioned his name a few times already, and this one is from 1964. This is the second album for this artist as a leader. He was on our previous show when we talked about him exclusively.
There he is.
This album...
He's hiding in the weeds.
Yeah,
there he is.
This is the Wayne Shorter Juju.
Yeah, that's a great album.
Delude, House of Jade, Mahjong, Yes or No. And again, 6 songs.
That's it.
Wayne Shorter on tenor sax, McCoy Tyner, and Elvin Jones, and Reggie Workman on this. Reggie Workman's on the bass. And, of course, McCoy Tyner and Elvin Jones, they both worked quite a bit with Coltrane. So this is kind of like a Coltrane quartet without him and Wayne Shorter instead. And this is 1964.
Great album.
Great album.
So Near, I think you got one more.
Oh, did I? I only did one?
You only did one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right. So this one, the Sidewinder, Lee Morgan. Of course, this tune, the actual title track from this tune, became a #1 hit, actually, on the pop charts, which is very unusual for 1964 to have a jazz go as a #1 hit on the pop, a pop thing. Later on in the 80s, the group, what was the name of that group?
UB40?
No, U3, Us 3, I forget. One of your listeners will probably find it for me. But anyway, they did a hip-hop version of this. It'll come to me in a minute, but I should have written that down. Anyway, the Sidewinder, Joe Henderson's on here with Lee Morgan, Barry Harris on piano, and Bob Crenshaw and Billy Higgins. So we're getting quite a few different players involved in the picks here. Mostly rhythm section players. The horn players seem to be pretty consistent. That most of them were, either Lee Morgan, Wayne Shorter, Joe Henderson, so forth in this era. And but the rhythm sections are a lot of different players were part of this. Anyway,
would you agree that that's probably, out of a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about today, for folks who maybe are new to this label and a lot of this music, that would be a good choice for someone to check out first, maybe out of all these? That's pretty accessible.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Very accessible. Yeah. Yeah. It's simple. It's a simple tune.
People can't see that right now, but you have the very famous Blue Note label on the vinyl.
I could take that out. I don't want to show them there too much, but I'll show them.
Up there. Yeah, look at that. So that's how they look, folks.
Oh,
towards me. Yeah. There you go.
upside down. There we go.
Synonymous with every Blue Note album back in the day. That's a good one. Yeah, I think that one as well. That's a good one. All right, my next selection, I'm going to go to 1961. This is an artist, I guess the first guitar player we're going to talk about today. This is an artist who recorded a ton of albums for Blue Note Records. This is one of his early ones. The guy is Grant Green. This is Green Street. There we go. So here we have him performing in a guitar trio. So it's him on guitar, Ben Tucker on bass, and Dave Bailey on drums. 7 songs on this one, Mike. This
Stretching it out.
A little bit. This is really good. You know, he's got other albums that are just as amazing. He's got one where he does like a lot of Latin style stuff, which is really good as well. I like this one because this is just like a guitar trio. It's a little on the bluesy side, but it's great. His guitar playing is great. I think if you're a Wes Montgomery fan or a Kenny Burrell fan, you probably want to hear Grant Green. Really, really strong stuff. He does a version of Round About Midnight on here, which is great. Green with Envy is terrific. A lot of great stuff on here. Really, really great underrated guitar player from this time period. So that's Green Street by Grant Green. And then from 1962, Dexter Gordon's
Fabulous.
Go. Right? This is a classic, right?
Fabulous.
Absolute classic. So here, 1962, also recorded in Englewood Cliffs and Van Gelder Studios. Again, August 27, 1962. I guess they liked August. It seemed like 4 might have been in August. They were probably coming and going all throughout that month, right? You know,
yeah,
so,
what a great month to record. Right?
I guess so, right? I guess so. Here we have Dexter on tenor sax. We've got Sonny Clark on piano, Butch Warren on bass, and Billy Higgins, once again, there's that name, on drums. And here we have 6 tracks once again. Cheesecake is a terrific, terrific song. And then Love for Sale is really good. And that's a Cole Porter original. So, yeah, really, really great. Dexter Gordon, he was like one of those, like when he released this, up and coming guys that everybody was talking about here. But really, really great stuff. So don't miss out on Go by Dexter Gordon. Go with an apostrophe at the end. Right?
Beautiful.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. All right. So that takes me out of the 60s.
Out of the 60s.
And I'm going to start with a little history here. In 1984, Bruce Lunval was tasked to revive the suspended Blue Note jazz label. So we accepted that. He was also working for EMI and he accepted the challenge to try to revive Blue Note Records. One of his biggest signings at that time was an unknown Norah Jones, and her debut album, Come Away With Me, gave her her biggest hit. What's that? Dee da 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 da. Oh gosh, Norah Jones. Anyway, pop singer. So, and I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of comments on that.
Well, sometimes it's hard when stuff just comes.
Yeah, it just came to my head. I should have researched that. I was going to pick that, but I'm trying to stay away from the pop side here because this is the jazz show.
Right.
Don't know why. I don't know why it took me that long to figure out how to say that word. Don't know why, right? That title is soon. But everybody's heard that tune. Don't know why, right? So anyway, that was one of his big signings, and he also signed a young tenor player, relatively unknown at the time, named Mr. Joe Levano, who ended up as a Grammy award-winning saxophonist, downbeat saxophonist of the year several times over, jazz soloist of the year, accolades beyond compare, and he's still recording, although not with Blue Note anymore. He ended up recording 28 albums as a leader on Blue Note Records, and like I said in the beginning, I could have given you 10 picks that everybody would have fallen in love with. Just check out his catalog. I'll mention at the end a couple other titles that I didn't bring with me because I'm limited to 10. But again, just a fantastic musician, and one of these people who always reinvents himself. You're never going to hear 2 of his albums that sound the same. Always inventing a new band, playing with different players, and I'll get to that when I get to my last pick. But the first one I'm going to pick here from 1988, under the direction of the new president, Bruce Lunval, is this little thing by Woody Hubbard and Woody Shaw together as leaders on this. It's called the Eternal Triangle. What I love about this is that it's they do songs from other trumpet players. Like there's a Kenny Dorham tune on here, there's a Freddie Hubbard tune on here, there's a Lee Morgan tune on here, a Woody Shaw tune, and of course Sonny Stitt wrote the Eternal Triangle originally. Also engineered by Rudy Van Gelder. And one of the reasons I picked this over other things is because all these artists are playing together, and they also feature a very young Kenny Garrett, who is a fantastic alto sax player. Let's see, the Mulgrew Miller is here on piano, Ray Drummond on bass, Carl Allen on drums, and then, of course, I just said Kenny Garrett on alto, Freddie Hubbard on trumpet in the left channel, Woody Shaw on the right channel.
So, because you didn't really start hearing about Kenny till probably like in the early 90s. You started hearing a lot about him. Right?
Yeah.
So this is a few years before then.
It's a very young Kenny Garrett, and I happened to see him up at the Jazz Festival. I ran into Eric, by the way. Eric gave me a shout out.
He did, yeah.
On his show.
What's up, Eric Porter?
Yeah.
How are you?
What's happening, buddy? Kenny Garrett, I happened to ask him about this record, and he said, yeah, man, I was just, I had just left Duke Ellington's band, and I was really full of ideas and didn't know where I was or how I was going to express them, and this was a chance for me to get recognized, and really a great launching pad for Kenny Garrett. So
I've never heard that on.
Yeah, it's really interesting,
yeah.
And it's not the only one that I am going to tell you about that has two of the same instrumentalists competing or sharing the stage, so to speak, in the album title.
Cool. So what you got next?
Okay, next I have from 1988. This is kind of an obscure pick. This is Michel plays Patriciani. So a very, very unusual human being in the fact that he was he had a rare body disorder. Mm-hmm. And you can see he's kind of a slight frame.
Yep.
Couldn't reach the pedals with his feet, sitting at the piano and stuff, so he had special pedals made and stuff. And just a real interesting listen, because this guy, you'd never know that he had some kind of different abilities by listening to him play. He's amazing in his style and his depth. It's just full of emotion, really reeks out. It just squeezes out every bit of emotion that he can out of the piano, and it's amazing to listen to. Why I picked this one, he's got several recordings out.
Look at that lineup, I'm like,
Yeah.
holy moly.
So one side he has Roy Haynes, Al Foster, and I'm sorry. One side he has Al Foster, Eddie Gomez, and John Abercrombie on guitar on one song, and the other side he has a band with Roy Haynes, Eddie Gomez, and John Abercrombie. So two different drummers. Gary Peacock's on one side, Eddie Gomez, bass players alternate sides. John Abercrombie is on both sides, and also there's a percussionist, Steve Thornton, which is on one tune. But
that's probably great.
9 tunes. It's great if you really like piano music. This is outstanding performance. So very cool recording.
It's another one I haven't heard. See, I've got some homework to do now here. See, Mike busting out the cool stuff. All right. Speaking of Freddie Hubbard, I wasn't going to go this whole episode without talking about one of my favorite, if not my favorite, definitely my favorite Freddie Hubbard album, and that is Hub Tones from 1963. If you like Miles Davis from this time period, you'll like Freddie Hubbard. Really good. So Freddie's on trumpet here, James Spaulding on alto sax and flute, Herbie Hancock on piano. We have not mentioned Herbie yet.
We have not.
No. Reggie Workman on bass and Clifford Jarvis on drums. 8 tracks on here. Awesome stuff. If you like Miles's classic kind of quartet or quintet, I should say, from this time period, you'll really dig this a lot. Excellent album. Really well produced. And then my next choice is could be the most avant-garde album we're going to talk about today, but it's amazing for what it is. Just be wary that it's a little on the chaotic side. 1964's Out to Lunch by Eric Dolphy. This is crazy. You've heard this album?
Yes.
This is like out there. This is definitely the wildest album I think that I pulled today. Freddie Hubbard again on trumpet. We've got Eric Dolphy on alto sax, flute, and bass clarinet. Bobby Hutchinson on vibes, Richard Davis on bass, and Anthony Williams, otherwise known as Tony Williams, on drums. 5 tracks on here. Chaotic, wild, some of the greatest flute playing you'll hear in this type of context. Freddie is just screaming away on the trumpet, and Tony Williams is doing some amazing drumming on here. Hat and Beard is terrific, and Gazzalone is a wild song.
Would you say that's a little bit Mingus-esque?
A little bit. This is like Mingus meets like Ornette Coleman in spots, right? This is definitely not for the faint of heart. This is a lot of what we're talking about is very melodic, very classy sounding. This is definitely going off into like outer space a little bit, but I love it for that, right? It's just really cool stuff. So again, recorded in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, February 25th, 1964 is the recording date for this. But yeah, really good stuff. But again, this is I don't think I would recommend anybody to go here first if you're going to experiment with all these albums. Definitely don't try this first, but definitely try it at some point. So, all right,
yeah,
back to you. Are these our last 2, I think?
This is my last 2.
Yeah, that's right, last 2. Okay.
So I talked about them in depth here throughout the program. My number pick here comes from my number 9 pick here comes from 1991, and this is by the great Joe Levano. This is called Tenor Legacy. Like I said, Joe has recorded 28 albums, or maybe 29 for Blue Note, and this was earlier in his career. Joe Levano on tenor sax, Mulgrew Miller on piano, Christian McBride on bass, and one of my favorite drummers of all time, Louis Nash on drums, and a very fine percussionist, Don Elias.
Yeah, he's played with everybody.
Right, on percussion. Yeah. What I didn't mention was Levano shares the lead here with the great Joshua Redman on tenor sax. Levano is in one channel, Redman is in the other channel, and the two of them are going back and forth throughout all these different songs. Some of them are originals by Levano, some of them are classic tunes like Laura, Ballad, Love is a Many Splendored Thing, but the rest are Joe Levano songs, and To Her Ladyship is B. Frazier wrote that, not Levano. This is from 91.
So was Joshua really a household name by then?
No,
really, right?
No, he was not. Yeah, so. But the two of them are doing this almost like a fugue together, soloing off of each other and harmonizing and playing, and very intense record. And the two of them sound so much on top of their games. Not that they ever did not, but this was the first time that I ever heard Joshua Redman, was when I got this one with Joe Levano. So if you don't have this, please check it out. It's still around, from 1991. It's called Tenor Legacy.
Cool. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. All right. Now, we've talked about Joe Levano and all those albums. Couple that I would recommend that aren't on my list here are number one is one called Symphonica, which he does with a German big band, and he's the lead in front of a big band. Beautiful, beautiful record. Check that out. He did a live recording with his nonette right after 52nd Street Themes, where he got the Grammy for that. A couple of years later, he did a record called a live recording from the Village Vanguard called On This Day. His nonette, fantastic. 3 tenor players in the front line, 1 alto, 1 trumpet, trombone, piano, bass, and drums. Right, and that lineup. He only did a few albums with that lineup. Now he's into something totally different. But those are 2 honorable mentions. So my last pick, I'm going to pick this one. Of course, I have to pick this. I have to mention this. This is Joe Levano's Bird Songs. It's his tribute to Charlie Parker. There's all Parker tunes on here. And I'll give you a quote here from Levano. At the young age of 34, Charlie Parker passed and left us with open questions about what would be. I kept wondering how Bird would have developed within these tunes, not just as the incredible soloist that he was, but as an arranger and a band leader. Bird Songs is my humble attempt to answer some of those questions in my own way. About the time that Joe Levano was putting this together, I was researching for my dissertation up at BU. And I called Joe and I said, Joe, I came up with this idea. I'm trying to figure out how jazz musicians find their unique voices. How do they learn how to express themselves in their own way? And, how much of that was influenced by the collegiate experience, and how much of it was actually from knowledge learned from other players on the street. So that was what my basis of my dissertation was about. And he said, well, I'm putting together this Bird tribute, and I got this great band together. He goes, I would volunteer to be the subject of. I said, that'd be great. So that's how this came about for me. That I researched this album. It was a fly on the wall in rehearsal when he was putting it together. I witnessed and took notes and did my research live at Birdland when he presented these tunes in New York City.
That's very cool.
And see here, he gave me a nice little dedication on the inside.
There you go.
Oh, we see this way. Here, there you go. Yeah. Called me Dr. Michael there. Nice guy. So anyway, the thing about this record that I really love, besides what I've already told you about, James Weidman on piano, Esperanza Spalding on bass. That year that this was done, or the following year, around that time, she got the New Artist of the Year award. Not just Jazz Artist, Recording Artist of the Year from the Grammys. New Artist Award. So she became kind of untouchable to me because I had to go through her agent, and she was doing interviews all over the country, so she didn't have time to fit me into her schedule. But I got to interview all these people. They were part of the dissertation. Of course, Levano, James Weidman on piano, 2 bass players, Otis Brown III on drums, and Francisco Mela on drums. The 2 drummers in this band played at the same time throughout the whole record.
That's great.
The night that I was in Birdland, I think it was Mela was not there. It was Otis Brown and Matt Wilson came in. So I got to interview him too and make him part of. And all these players have their own unique voices and have made it to the upper echelon, or like you say in Hollywood, the A-list of jazz performers. So in order to make that, you have to have your own unique personality and be able to express that in a way that people hear it and understand it and instantly can recognize that's Joe Levano. Oh, that's Coltrane. Yep. Oh, that's Wayne Shorter. I mean, that's the mark of a true artist. So that's why I had to put this
Not
in here.
easy to do.
No, and the music here, the creativity that he came up with, and arrangements, and doing this album, it's fantastic.
So it's not just a covers album.
It's not a covers album at all. It's his arrangements on all these tunes and the way he takes them. Even the format of the band, like I said, with 2 drummers, very different styles, very complementary. And of course, tonight I heard him with Matt Wilson. It was amazing as well. So
awesome.
Anyway,
Very cool.
There you have it.
All right.
I spilled my guts.
Some good stuff there. That's some stuff I haven't heard, so that's cool. All right. We had to have at least one Herbie Hancock album in this little discussion here today. So this is Maiden Voyage from 1965, recorded March 17th at Van Gelder Studios. Freddie Hubbard on trumpet, George Coleman on tenor sax, Herbie Hancock piano, Ron Carter on bass, and Tony Williams on drums. So this is happening right around the same time where you had Herbie, Ron, and Tony playing with Miles, right, for all those classic albums. The title track is classic. Eye of the Hurricane is classic. Dolphin Dance is one of his great early songs. Everything else is great on here. 5 tracks. Amazing, amazing early Herbie Hancock. And again, one of the great things about this album, and you could even talk about the album that came before it and the one that came after it, is Herbie's compositions. You know, his songwriting ability, really, really good, top notch. I mean, that's the one thing that made the Miles Davis group of this time period so good, is because not only was Miles writing songs, Wayne and Herbie were also contributing lots of stuff. So expert stuff there. And then my last one here is, we mentioned him before. Here he is as a leader, McCoy Tyner. The Real McCoy from 1967, April 21st, recorded, Van Gelder Studios. Here we have Joe Henderson, tenor sax, McCoy on piano, Ron Carter on bass, and Elvin Jones on drums.
Yeah, also on my list.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just didn't put it in.
There's so many, I know, there's so many.
I couldn't cut out Levano.
And that's fine. At least we got them covered. I mean, we got all these people covered. So this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Really great early McCoy Tyner, showing that he was not only a great sideman, but a great leader as well. And then, you know, I pulled a couple that we didn't talk about here today, but I know you're a big fan of Song for My Father from Horace Silver, which is great. And then I pulled it. We've done a whole show on him. Mike had one of his selections, but I just want to mention Speak No Evil by Wayne Shorter is absolutely terrific. And this, again, features Freddie Hubbard, Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, and Elvin Jones from 1964. A lot of great Wayne Shorter albums from this time period. If you didn't catch our episode, go back and watch it. A lot of good stuff there. So, yeah, I think we, there's 1,000+ albums in this catalog, but I think we did a good job of covering some of the, like, some cool mandatory things and some little nuggets that people may not talk about.
I'm satisfied.
Yeah, I am
too. Let's see if your listeners are satisfied.
Yes, exactly. So we'll see. So hopefully you guys have lots of good stuff to dive into here from our list of things we've spoken about. But the cool thing is even though, like, you know, you pick any of these artists, right? Even though, for instance, we mentioned Hub Tones by Freddie Hubbard. Mike mentioned an album as well. Freddie's got a whole bunch of other albums on this label. Wayne Shorter, too. Herbie Hancock, Grant Green. I mean, all these guys, Joe Levano. So if you go investigate any of our picks, that should open up the rabbit hole to lots of other albums by these artists. And there's plenty of other ones that we didn't even touch on today.
Right.
So, right?
There's no way.
No.
You know, I don't know why.
He's been bitching for the last 2 weeks. He's like, you give me these hard assignments, man. I can't just pick 10. I'm like, well, we have to. We have to.
Yeah.
I'll make the next one even harder, whatever that'll be. I don't know yet, so we'll figure it out. So, you know, you guys may laugh, but you literally, to do one of these episodes, we need to prepare for like a month or two sometimes. That's why it's always good to have an idea of like 2 episodes in advance, because it's a lot of listening. It's a lot of kind of going over stuff, and, you know, can't just throw these together in a week. It doesn't work that way.
It helps if you have an extensive collection of these tunes and have a place to it's kind of a springboard from.
And revisit, yeah.
So you go back and listen, why did you like this and why is this in your collection? How did you come up with this? And then that opens the doors for more exploration.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. So hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any of your favorite releases from the Blue Note label, list them down below in the comments section. And if
Oh, could I just put in a self plug here?
Yes, oh, absolutely. Yes, I was going to suggest that anyway.
Oh, I didn't know. God, sorry.
That's okay. Yeah.
I thought you were wrapping this up.
Well, no, I was just going to tell people to put stuff down in the comments, and if there's any additional show ideas that you might have for us in the months to come, just let us know. But Mike has some very important information about new music.
My band, Home at Last. First of all, if you're in the area, I don't know when's this going live?
Either tonight or tomorrow.
Okay. So, which happens to be tomorrow, on July 24th, the band Home at Last is going to do a mixture of covers and original songs. We're playing at the Pops Pavilion, which is right on the Wallkill River on Route 208 in the hamlet of Wallkill, New York.
I'll make sure this gets
12589.
So people have time. So,
right.
So this will be tomorrow, folks. You're watching this on Wednesday. The show will be tomorrow, Thursday, the 24th.
Okay. And then we have another show coming up the following Wednesday, July 30th, which is at Worcester Grove in Walden, 12586, right on State Route 52, just outside of Walden, New York. Same set list, so either one of those shows you can catch.
What time does the show start tomorrow night?
Tomorrow's show starts at 7, and the show on the 30th, Wednesday, starts at 6:30.
I might have to catch next week's show because I got a taping at 8 tomorrow. Now,
that's
there
fine.
Won't be enough time.
No, that's fine.
To Walden next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
And along with that, we have just released our third album of original music. This one's called Fake News. Don't let the title scare you. It's basically a compilation of 9 original songs that are reflective of people living and working in the digital age. And also a couple of breakup songs. Who doesn't like a good breakup song, right?
Every album's got to have one, right?
Pete's going to put the link there that'll take you to our website so you can check that out. It's all on the website. We're waiting for the streaming services to make it official, make it live, but you can listen and download all the tunes on the album for free at our website, and we'll put the link for that direct page to go to the new album in the comments.
Okay, cool. So that'll all be linked below, folks. So please go check out Mike's band, Home at Last, new music. And if you are in the Hudson Valley or in the region here in New York tri-state area, and you happen to be in the neighborhood of Walk Hill, New York, or next week in Walden, New York, stop by and check the band out. They're always loads of fun. And
thank you, Pete.
You got it. Thank you for coming on here and talking Blue Note. So
yeah,
we'll figure out another hard task for you for next time, right? Always good to see you, my friend. And
Great
thank
to
you
see
guys
you.
for watching, spending some time with us here on Talkin' Jazz, here on Sea of Tranquility. Now we can wrap it up. This is on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
All the damn time.
Everybody's got it now, right? It's sweeping the nation. Everybody's got the all the damn time thing. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next month here on Talkin' Jazz. From Mike Antonelli, I'm Pete Pardo. See you soon. Listen to some Blue Note classics and some of these more obscure titles, and let us know what you think down in the comments below. We'll see you next time. Take care.